Hi, this is Brooks with Character Design Forge. We've talked before about a key pose, which is artwork of a character posed in a way that's exciting and expresses something about the character. As a character designer, you aren't just creating a single piece of two-dimensional art though. In fact, many times you aren't even the only person that will be drawing or working with this character. A character turnaround, which you might call a character sheet or model sheet as well, often features your character drawn at multiple angles, and usually these angles are to scale with one another. This is helpful for a lot of different reasons. If this character is going to be 3D modeled, a turnaround gives the modeler a better idea of the dimension, shape, and placement in space than simply one piece of art from one angle. If the character is going to be animated or redrawn by someone else, especially multiple other people, a turnaround can help new art of this character remain faithful and unified to the original. Even if this character will only be worked with by you, say for a personal comic or a project of your own, having a turnaround and even the act of creating one can be immensely helpful, for reasons we'll talk about in this video. The example character I'm using today is a character called Bumblebee, which is a character I created on this channel and still sketch for fun every once in a while. Bumblebee is intended to be the player character in a video game, perhaps a platforming game, and she is the only bumblebee in a hive of honeybees, and she finds this powerful gauntlet. With a turnaround, you may want to simply use a static pose, or what we call a T-pose in 3D modeling, with the arms out to the side. However, I'm choosing this key pose, with the idea that I might be trying to model this pose as a maquette or bust to be 3D printed or sculpted. This pose I thought was a unique one, and took a little messing around to get right, because generally it looks awkward to have a character completely supported by one hand, especially one that's much larger than the rest, in this case, and to balance out the rest of the body took some trial and error. The idea with her pose is to showcase that she's relying on this gauntlet physically, however she isn't relying on it emotionally. In other words, without the gauntlet she's still courageous and adventurous. The physical object simply helps her fulfill those qualities. Creating a turnaround can be useful and difficult for the same reason, which is that you really can't cheat them. Maybe when you're drawing something from one angle, you can perhaps hide that hand that you didn't want to draw. You may not fully understand what something looks like or where it is in space, but it looks good in that one direction. But a turnaround is going to make you rotate the character now and uncover your secrets, so to speak. So a turnaround may seem daunting, but it's a great way to improve as an artist. It really makes you think a lot more about what you're drawing. One thing that's going to help is a strong understanding and use of construction. This means the three-dimensional forms and shapes that you draw with. If you compose your character with these and really understand them, it will be much easier to rotate them in space. So with my character here, you see she's made up of a lot of spherical shapes and some cylindrical ones. And you can really distill this character, and most, into simple shapes, all built together, that you're smoothing and detailing out the relationships of. Throughout this process, you'll probably find yourself auditing yourself across the various angles, seeing how changing something in one place affects another, which I just think is a really valuable part of this exercise. I think that the place this will be most evident to you, especially if you're a new artist, is going to be the face. So you may be used to drawing certain 2D shapes on a face or a sort of three-quarter view of it, but as soon as you rotate the head to the side and start drawing the profile, you're going to find yourself struggling to figure out, well, how does that nose look from the side? And really, what shapes does a human head make from the side that makes it look well-designed or dynamic? Typically, a turnaround involves a view from the front, back, side, top, or three-quarter view, or a combination of at least 2 or 3 of those. When the angles of your turnaround are placed next to each other, at least for the top, side, and back angles, it's actually rather important that features end up aligning with each other horizontally. And this is why it's good to create some horizontal lines on your sheet to draw parallels and show that something like the eyes, the top and bottom of the head, all line up. Now there are a few instances where something actually is perceivably different from another angle, and the difference between the three-quarter view and the others are going to be much different, but generally you'll want everything to line up. One tip I can give you that can help save some time, that I've seen a lot of professionals doing, is to duplicate an angle like the front and flip it or mirror it, perhaps filling it all in, and now you have the template to draw the character from the back, simply filling in the details that are different. You can see that I did this here. I kept the same outside shapes of the front view and redrew the character from the back with that silhouette. I wrapped up this character by rendering out an illustration of her in the 3/4 view in that key pose, which I think turned out pretty good. Model sheets are especially helpful when it comes to creating game characters, either if they're going to be modeled or simply animated from various directions. Very soon I'll be releasing a course called Designing Game Characters, which will be available standalone, but free for Learn Character Design course students. Head over to learncharacterdesign.com to learn more and sign up to know when Designing Game Characters is released. That's it from me today. I'm making new videos every week at Character Design Forge. Subscribing on YouTube lets you know when new videos are made available. Thank you for watching, and have fun creating.